Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and this is my dog Potato, and welcome back to our channel.
Who is that they, them on my screen?
Hi everybody, welcome to me. It's me, Zachary Marie. Hi, hello, how are you doing? I hope you're doing so well today. And we're basically back to check in on Miss Rosie Lynn Reed herself. Quirky Love Rosie, yeah. Woo! She's by the pool. She made it to the pool, y'all. I think the last time she was in the pool, she was trying to get people to meet a super chat goal so she would swim laps, but by the time she actually met the goal, she was like, I'm getting out of the pool. I'm getting out of the pool, sorry. And so, I don't know if that's like part of the vibes here tonight, whatever. I don't know if those are the vibes. I'm just here to chill and have a good time. I'm just here to vibe. I'm trying to catch those poolside vibes, you know? So maybe not as always, but thankfully I have a trusty moderator named Jane who, while she was watching, took some timestamps, made some clips, compiled it all into one video that she has shared with me so that I can watch because, well, I didn't even look. You just know Rosie is out here streaming for hours and hours and hours and hours on end, and I was busy yesterday. I had lots of stuff to do, like participate in my gay pickleball end of season tournament, because I'm an athlete. I don't know if you knew about that. I don't know if you knew that about me, but I am. It's true. It's true. Wait, I was gonna go look up who you like that. Okay, here's the deal. Everybody always asks me, what brand is my keyboard and stuff like that. I don't know. A friend of mine was like, hey, Zach, I'm currently into customizing keyboards. Would you like one? And so I said, sure. And I paid them for it. And I can't tell you much more than that. But it's beautiful. She's beautiful. It's like a little bunch of Smarties and stuff. Okay, wait, I was going here to look. Oh my god, she's already got a live stream scheduled for today. Ramen for dinner vibes. She's been having ramen like every day. When are we gonna catch a new vibe? Okay, so she streamed yesterday for about like a little over 3 hours. The first one was 1 hour and 47 minutes. And then it sounds like that live crashed, so she started a second one, and that was 1 hour and 40 minutes. So thank God for Jane for clipping this stuff together for me. I really appreciate it. It definitely makes my life easier to just get caught up with the most interesting parts of Rosie's life. The clips all together, though, from Jane are, I think, 32 minutes long, so I have her on 1.25 speed. I personally find speeding up videos to sometimes be distracting for me, but listen, I'm just here for the vibes. I don't have all day. So I'm gonna shut the fuck up now and we're gonna get to.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Y'all want to something interesting that's been happening in my life the past couple days?
Sure.
So one of my, TikTok drafts that I posted a while back, it, randomly went viral starting, I want to say a couple days ago. And, viral is a loose term. I mean, viral for me, I feel like viral the way it was a decade ago is not...
Viral? I haven't checked her out on TikTok. Something went viral for her on TikTok? Let me go look. Oh, no, girl. I kind of hate how TikTok just automatically starts playing sometimes. Let me go look. I haven't looked at her TikTok in a while. Is she going viral over there? She has 3 pinned comments. Oh, one? Okay. It's not the one in the middle because that one was from back when she was on the We're All Insane podcast. I think that's what it's called. I guess it's probably this one that she has pinned. It has 545,000 views.
What do you do on those days that you don't feel that confident or fearless or powerful like you did out there?
Pretend.
Fake it?
Yeah.
Can we make it?
I mean, why not? It's either that or cry myself to sleep. Who wants to do that?
What do you do?
Okay. I'm curious about why that went quote unquote viral. The caption says confidence is not just a personality trait but a skill. It takes practice. Okay. All right. Ooh. Okay, wait. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Ugh. People being real fatphobic towards her and in the comments section. Not a great look. Not a great look. Okay. No, I mean, like, not a great look for the people leaving those comments. Not anything to do with her. I don't understand why that in particular went viral, but okay. The TikTok algorithm is hard to understand. It really is for me and my family.
Not the same viral that's today. It's the TikTok YouTube short video with a fan where I'm talking about confidence, like listening to the audio.
Well, she's not talking about confidence. She's lip syncing to a TikTok sound talking about confidence.
Real life is great. The internet is something I've been ignoring the past few days. It's probably why I'm in a pretty good mood. My TikTok went viral, and it went viral on besides it.
I've been ignoring the internet the past couple of days, but I'm very aware that my TikTok went viral. Okay.
TikTok that I don't want to go viral on. It's the side of TikTok that has issues in relation to the consumption of food, if you catch my fucking drift. I'm working around the TOS here with YouTube. There was like a lot of comments. The main one that people kept repeating was, "Your arm is wider than my waistline." And I'm like,
that was in fact actually a lot of the comments that I just read, indeed.
Okay, anime picture 250 on TikTok with no post. Congratulations. It's so ironic because I'm literally talking about like confidence, like fake till you make it confident. That's what the TikTok's about, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're so fucking triggered. Like the comments are just all fighting each other. Half of them are just like fat shaming, and the other half are like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just work here. If you don't post your face, like, I mean, I think your face is the important part, but like even your body, like you don't post anything about, you don't post anything. You're trying to talking shit. Ugh, loser behavior.
Why is she yelling? What is her problem? What is her problem? I mean, she's not wrong. I've said this before on my channel, that the number one, like, nastiest, like, comment that I get is always from somebody that has something in their profile picture that is not them. Like a cartoon. Sometimes it's just no profile picture at all. It's always the people that don't want to put a face to their name that are coming onto Al Gore's internet saying the like nastiest, rudest shit. And I just think that's interesting because say what you want about me. Actually, say what you want about Rosie. But we both come out here with our full identifiable faces for you to come and have some shit to say about us. It's why I also always struggle with the people in this corner of the internet that do reaction content to like Chantal, Amberlynn, Rosie, and they have shit to say about any of those three's looks when like they won't even cam up and like get on camera themselves. It just feels like if you really want to have some shit to say about how somebody looks, like, I don't know, you should put yourself out there. You really should. Which is funny because I rarely have anything to say about what the girls look like, especially not in regards to their weight. Like, I have made some comments like, I don't know if I would wear that in terms of like their clothing or like their hair or like being able to see all the dry shampoo caked up in Rosie's hair. But I'm not usually commenting on like their weight and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't always agree with Rosie, but then sometimes she just happens to be right every once in a while. A broken clock and all that.
Talk shit, say it with your face, say it with your chest. That's what I do. I got shit to talk about. With my face and my voice, I don't hide. That's where she's wrong. See how quickly I can go to disagreeing with her because there's a whole subreddit account that she has since taken ownership of, but previously did not own as being hers. She only took ownership of it because she got called out, because people put together that it was her. But she used to, and probably still does, love to sit behind anonymous Reddit accounts talking shit about people. She's done it with me. She's done it with Amberlynn. She did it with Trisha Paytas. She likes to talk shit a lot behind anonymity until she gets caught. The only social media I use that isn't tied to my likeness is Reddit. And even I don't use Reddit, I used to use Reddit. I do kind of ebb and flow with it sometimes, but...
You're always talking about being on Reddit, girl. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm barely on my shit nowadays. I'm busy. Before, like...
Busy doing what?
When it first started going off, someone shared my TikTok to their story with like laughing emojis. I wish I had the message in front of me because I messaged them.
Why?
I cussed them out, and it wasn't me.
Why are we messaging randos who shared your TikTok to their Instagram stories? Why? What are you trying to accomplish here? Get out of people's DMs. You want to know why people think you're weirdly parasocial? You just some random stranger shared it, and it sounds like you're getting ready to pick a fight with them with the way that you just prefaced. I didn't curse them out. I wasn't mean. Please.
Mean to them. I'm gonna paraphrase here off dome, but I basically was just like, I basically just called them out. I was really kind about it. I do this sometimes because of what ended up happening in this conversation.
I was so kind. I'm sure. I'm sure. You're regularly known to be super kind and understanding when people are mean to you.
Yeah. Because sometimes this approach works with people. Sometimes people are just set on being miserable and spreading their pain around. So it's just all these like all kinds of like random anime profile pictures, like anime from like any anime. Like if you look at the comment section of the video, you'll see exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So I messaged that person. I wish I remembered what the first thing I said was. I just know it was something to the effect of like I don't know why the fuck you're doing this. Like I didn't do anything to you.
But you didn't curse. But you didn't curse at them. Her like selective like memory. I know she says she has memory issues, but it's always so convenient to me when she's like, I wish I could remember what I said to them after she just got done insisting that she didn't say anything rude, anything mean, anything terrible, but now it's, I wish I could remember exactly what I said to them.
I worded it better than that. She responded back with like, I just don't like that you're promoting obesity to young girls or something. And so I responded and I said, I'm not promoting obesity by like existing in my own body. Like, I have my own issues with eating, so I don't know why you feel the need to project your pain onto me when I would never want to put that pain onto you. And I said like a couple other things to this girl. And I
do think, especially if it's just that TikTok, I think it's ridiculous to suggest that Rosie just making content, being in herself. I mean, she was wearing normal clothes that we've seen her wear time and time again. Like, she wasn't doing anything crazy. It is kind of wild to me that there's a thought process that just by simply posting a TikTok that didn't actually say anything about her weight, just talked about the quality of being confident, and that is being portrayed as her promoting obesity. Like, I do think that's a little ridiculous. I really do. And I don't say that. I feel like I'm going to have to make some qualifiers here, right? Because, like, people will be like, why are you defending Rosie? Rah! But I say that also because it's, like, not just Rosie. There's so many people that just simply exist in fat bodies. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know what they've tried. We obviously know a little bit more about Rosie because she shared extensive amounts of information regarding her weight, her relationship with food, her experience of feederism, etc. But when it comes to a lot of just like everyday people who might just want to be posting on social media because they like TikTok, because that's where they share their hee-hees and ha-has with friends and stuff, like, it's wild to be like, oh my gosh, how dare you promote obesity and something that has literally nothing to do with her being like, go be fat, be body positive, things like that. Because if you go back, there probably is content in Rosie's past where she's like been encouraging of being plus size and things like that. I mean, she's talked about that herself, but I don't think that TikTok on its own is enough. You know, that is kind of like a crazy thing to say to somebody who, at least in that TikTok by itself, is seemingly just like living her life. Maybe being a little cringe. But yeah.
Response back to like everything I said, because I said a bunch of stuff. Again, I'm just going off down here. I don't have it in front of me. Wow, Rosie. That's really, really sad. I never thought about it like that. And then I said a couple things back to her, one of which where I was basically like, by the way, like, me existing in my body does not promote obesity. However, having an account dedicated to disordered conduct around food is normalizing and promoting that behavior to young girls, but that's just me. And then that's when I found out that the person I was talking to, she referred to herself as a teen. So I was like, oh, well, from here on, I'm not going to be doing anything further. Best of luck to you. You know, positive vibes. Because I don't interact with, like, if I'm aware of my interact with the child, I'm not fucking talking to them on the internet. I'm fucking 30.
Maybe this is also just why, like, I mean, for real, how was she to know, right? Like, for sure, whatever. But then also, like, just don't. Just don't. This person obviously was sharing your TikTok from a place of, like, from a bad place, right? Like, why engage with them? I don't understand. You know, sometimes I don't respond to a lot of DMs these days, but sometimes if somebody is, like, reaching out to share something kind, nice, etc., I'll respond. You know, I think if it was that situation, I'd get it. But you wouldn't have even been in a situation where you were talking to this particular teen if you just ignored whatever mean shit they were trying to say about you. Please, Rosie.
You be talking to strangers children on the internet, like, no one should, that's weird. So I cut it off, like, right there, like, oops. But that's the thing, is, like, I didn't say anything inappropriate, I just, like, told her, like, I was actually kind to her, I didn't cuss her out, I wasn't, like, coming at her. I just did something that, and I've actually had conversations like that in the past with people, right? Like, honestly, I would say for, like, every 50 of those conversations, maybe one or two has any kind of success to, like, changing someone's perspective. How do you feel about not being in the doc too much? Sorry, we talked about this before. Mid-vlog. Oh, you're good. I have talked about it at length.
She really has. I'd really love to move on. I'd really love to move on from that documentary, at least as it applies to Rosie. I think if people want to have, like, continued conversations about Stefan's actual victims and things like that, I think absolutely keep having those conversations. I just feel like, in regards to Rosie, what else is there for us to say?
Overall, I'm just cool with moving on, because, like, it is what it is. Like, it's TV, you have no control, you have no say. Like,
right.
You show up and do your due, and then they do what they do with the footage, right? And ultimately, the documentary is not about me, and
right.
no real strong focus of anything to do with me outside of the conversation of fetishism, and they went in a different direction when it came to that conversation.
It went in a different direction. Girl, the documentary was not as a whole about fetishism. Fetishism was brought up because it was something that some of the women in the house participated in under the direction and encouragement of Stefan. The documentary, I think this is like, because again, she got this real big main character syndrome. She thinks that because they brought her there to talk about fetishism, that is like what the documentary was about, but it wasn't. It was just an aspect of it. And they did use some of Rosie's background, whether we, the audience who is familiar with Rosie or like it or not, like, they did utilize some of her footage to talk about that. So, like, I don't know what else she's expecting outside of they wanted them to make it about her, and it was never about her.
Any, like, major hard feelings about that. I just, you know, as much as people are pushing these false narratives about me, like, I'm not here to make it all about me, and I haven't been from the jump. They're just going to keep twisting my words and the things that I say and do to slay otherwise, and whatever, I don't give a fuck. These
false narratives about me. I mean, I guess the most I'll give her on that is that perhaps it's subjective, but my opinion on it is that I've watched a lot of your content since that trailer came out, and all of it has pointed to this being about you. From the first live stream you did, where you were promoting it like you were going to be some kind of big TV star, to that same live stream where you talked about having a subplot in it, to you making videos suggesting that, like, the actual victim shouldn't choose to tell their story on the lolcow shows, to you getting in a live stream panel with Stefan, to you getting in Xiomara's live stream panels and talking over people and inserting yourself into shit, to the day the doc actually premiered and you crying on your toilet on your Instagram stories about how much trauma you had and you were afraid of what was going to come out in the doc. All of it to be not about you. So yeah, you can say people are pushing narratives. Let's get away from pushing a narrative, and I'll just say that's my opinion. I watched your content. I watched all of those things and formed my opinion, and my opinion is that you were trying to make it all about you. And I think that would have widely been shared by a lot of people, even if you didn't have a community of people who react to and provide commentary on your nonsense on the internet, because it was that transparent that you are making it about yourself. It was very easy to see, Diva.
once I realized the best thing for me to do was just to back off, that's exactly what I did. Probably could have came to that realization a little bit sooner, but hey.
So you're talking about like hours before the documentary premiered, you decided, oh, now's the time? Because again, those Instagram stories where you were making shit about you, that was like in the hours leading up to the docuseries premiering. So at what point did you decide to back off? After you watched it and you realized that you weren't shit and they didn't include a lot of the stuff you talked about in your interview?
We're an ex-PD, right? They invited you there for your expertise. I don't know why I'm so upset about that. Yeah.
First of all, I don't want to say nobody's upset that she was invited there to speak about her experiences as a former feedie. I think, like I've said many times, like I would actually have been less upset with her if she just was straight to the point about that to begin with and not acting like she had some kind of separate plot. She could have just said, hey, I was brought there to talk about my experiences in feederism as it related to what the women in that house experienced, but she didn't. She didn't.
So anyway, and then they ultimately like, I am confused by my involvement in the final product. Who? That's bitchy.
This comment on the screen says, how do you feel about Foodie Beauty? She is obsessed with you. I don't think, also for the record, I don't know if I agree with that comment. I think Foodie Beauty is also just a clout chaser. And Chantal ain't stupid, and she knew people were talking about Rosie and Rosie's involvement in this docuseries and Girl World in general. I mean, Foodie Beauty is just as clocked in to what's going on in Girl World as Rosie is and as Amberlynn is. And one thing about Chantal is that I think she's a lot less shameless. Like, she has a lot less shame or fear of shame keeping her from doing shit. And I think she ain't got any problem talking about Rosie, talking shit about Rosie to try to get some clout, to try to get some views, to try to get some attention.
No, but really, who though? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about Foodie. I don't give a damn. Like, she cares about me. She's got nothing else to care about. I found other things to care about. Like, who gives a fuck?
Mind you, Rosie used to give a fuck. Rosie made a whole video. You can't find it on her channel today, but I just am reminding people in case they're not aware of this. Rosie made a whole video back in the day about how Chantal eating on YouTube and doing mukbangs was triggering to people like her who had trauma related to being in the feederism community. She made a whole entire video about it. Yeah, Rosie used to be really bothered by Chantal.
She's drawing pictures of me and I have no idea what's going on in her life. Zero clue. I don't know and I don't care.
Well, also, first of all, let me go get thank you, Jane, so much for including the picture, because here's how actually separated from Chantal I've been lately. I just really don't know what's going on with her because I haven't felt compelled to check in on her. So I didn't know she drew a picture of Rosie, but it's also not surprising because she frequently does this thing where she's like, I'll draw a doodle of people for super chats and stuff like that. And they always pick like reaction channels and Amberlynn side characters. So it's not surprising to me that somebody was like, will you draw a picture of Rosie?
Nothing to care about. Like, who gives a fuck? She's drawing pictures of me and I haven't...
They don't tell you the price you pay. Oh, Chantal, you are such a talented artist. Honestly, though, Chantal really does know how to, like, try to get the clout and the attention.
I have no idea what's going on in her life. Zero clue. I don't know and I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's pathetic. Like, it speaks for itself. I'm not worried.
She's pathetic!
Anyway, great question. I'm pretty sure this is carnelian. I never remember what these two bitches are. I don't know. I have to go to the crystal store and ask. I just generally...
And why do we wear them, then?
Remember the vibes for them? This is my Nazar. A lot of people call it the Eagle Eye. And I don't remember what this one is called. One thing I remember about this green line is one of the crystal properties is that it's, like, supposed to help people with, like, diabetes, like, energy-wise. Like, it's not like terror. That's not what I'm saying. But, like, in the info card, that was one of the things that I talked about. We talked about, like, other health benefits for it, so...
Oh, girl, I feel like they were just. I feel like you were. I feel like you were a mark. I feel like they looked at you coming into that crystal store or wherever you got it from, and they said, "How do I get this girlie to leave here with one of these shitty bracelets?" Let me tell her that it'll help cure diabetes. Girl, you need to go to the doctor. You need to probably check your insulin levels. You need to probably change your diet. Let's back away from the crystal bracelets that are allegedly helping you. That's nuts. That's nuts. I mean, I'm sure she doesn't think, she did just clarify that she doesn't, she doesn't think it's like curing her, but damn, let's try literally anything else. I think she's currently taking some like really old metformin that she stopped taking for a while, or at least I feel like the last time I remember her giving an update on how she was trying to control her diabetes, that's when it happened. Also, it just makes me think of that clip from her Instagram stories where she's like, "I'm gonna reverse my type 2 diabetes."
I talked about the things that I regret, Liv. I mean, if you watch me.
Liv says, "I wish I could support you because I love seeing people happy, but do just not regret some of the things you've done. I just don't understand still being on the internet after it all, respectfully."
Directly, you'll see me talk about it. But if you only watch reaction channels, then you're only getting a portion of the story. I've talked a lot about things I regret, to be honest, but I don't feel like I should have to spend every single live admonishing every single mistake I've ever made for the entertainment people that eat.
Sure.
I don't feel like it's fair to expect me to reopen and rehash every drama and every lie, you know what I mean? Like, and I say that respectfully, too. Like, I'm not saying that in, like, a sarcastic or shitty way. Like, I'm saying that respectfully. Like,
sure.
I'm just living my life right now, Rosie Sherman.
I would agree. I don't think she has to, like, answer for her sins every single time she pushes the go live button. I think there are some things that she hasn't fully addressed, and I think it's fine if people still want, like, a response to some of those things. But also that's, like, why I very much am like, we've gotten the most we're gonna get out of her when it comes to her taking any kind of accountability regarding her involvement with this docuseries, which is why I'm like, yeah, we can kind of just move on. Like, I don't foresee her ever changing her stance on that. And if she does, it's probably because there's going to be something new that comes out that makes her regret saying stuff. She certainly is somebody who, if, like, push comes to shove and enough people push her on something, that she will retract her statements about things. I feel like in that way, that was what ended up eventually happening with her, accusing me of neglecting Poe, of not taking care of my dog and stuff. Enough people kept bringing it up to her that she finally was like, you know what, you're right. Like, I did not have all the information about that. I was just trusting what people on Reddit said about Zach and repeating it to the world. So, I don't know. And even then it's like, oh, that was like a half-assed apology, right? But like, I think it takes a lot before she wants to ever take accountability for anything. I mean, I think it's also okay to bring some of those things up again if they become relevant again, right? So, like, I feel like a lot of people dropped the stuff with the Jeff guy that she briefly was dating, the Blue Bear guy, and the allegations against him that had come out, and her response to that, and basically saying, like, hey, if this victim doesn't have an actual police report where actual violence happened, then like, I don't believe her. It's interesting because I do think it's relevant to bring that information up again now when she wants people to be very respectful of her trauma and things like that, even though some of the trauma she's talking about she doesn't have a police report for, and those kinds of things, right? And that she's been incredibly just, like, disrespectful to other people's trauma and lived experiences and things like that. So I think sometimes it is okay to bring them back up when it's relevant. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. Am I rambling? I'm rambling. I always ramble. What am I talking about?
I have to come back, yeah. I mean, You know, I really have survived the horrible things I've talked about in my past. Those are not lies, and I'm a lot stronger than people give me credit for. Totally get it. You seem like you have good morals at the end of the day. And I agree. I do. I am a person who has absolutely fucked up.
Emphasis on seems like you have good morals, because a lot of it's performative, in my opinion. a lot of her good morals, in my opinion, at this point are performative, because, you know, the times when your values and morals matter the most is when you have to actually enact them. And she doesn't. She never stands up for things when it actually matters. She didn't stand up for trans people when Amber Lynn made a transphobic comment. She didn't stand up for children and children who are victims of abuse and things like that when she tried to play nice with Shani in her live stream chat. And certainly she wasn't respectful of other people's trauma when she went and made this whole docuseries about her and went on to a live stream panel hosted by the guy who was perpetuating the violence.
Who has been the villain in other people's stories, intentionally or not. I would say more often not intentionally. I have made a lot of fucking mistakes. I honestly look back at the entirety of 2025 and feel like it was a mistake. Because I put my head in the sand, and the fallout from me doing that is entirely my responsibility. The shitty stuff I did and defended last year is my fault. It is my responsibility. And I absolutely own that. Absolutely. Because I was not in alignment with myself. I was not who I know myself to be in so many situations. And I'm still getting that girl back. And I absolutely fucked up with the Stefan situation. Which is why I'm just taking my consequences as gracefully as I can.
And this is why when you go on and on and on about how much you've grown, like, you continue to make terrible, awful mistakes in ways that suggest that you have not grown as a person at all.
And trying to move forward. I fucked up and I hurt people. And that is never what I want. I'm not going to play into the commodification of people's humiliation of me on the internet for entertainment. If I was willing to be a villain or sell my soul and be a piece of shit for internet coin, I'd be moving very differently. And I'd be a lot more hated. Because I've been on the internet long enough to know what works and what doesn't, but I'm not willing to compromise my morals. About, like, the most recent stuff. So that makes sense. It's still topical.
I mean, the thing that is so insidious about you, Rosie, is that it's clear that you're not, like, trying to play a part. Like, it's clear that this is just who you are, diva, and that's the problem. I understand that you could probably play a part if you wanted. You could put on an act. The thing that's so insidious about all of your nonsense is that it seems to be just who you are as a person.
Like, that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stuff from, like, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, that stuff. I should not have to answer to the mob with angry pitchforks over situations with which there isn't full context. No one has asked me for my side. People are cherry-picking clips from different places that they've pulled, like, old archives from or whatever.
People are cherry-picking clips. Listen, I know that I have somebody who helps me edit these things, right? Like, I know there's somebody. I already acknowledged that Jane put together this. So perhaps I am missing larger context for things in that sense. But I've watched a lot of content directly from the source that is Rosie, directly on her channel, directly on her Instagram stories over time. And the gag is you don't have to cherry pick. The reason that we edit down, and by we, I mean, like, I don't know, the reason that I utilize somebody who edits stuff down, let me make sure I'm not speaking for other people, is because I simply don't always have the time to watch 3 hours of Rosie live streaming, and I'm so grateful that I have the help of people who help me with that while I have to go do other things in my life. So, it's not to say that maybe there's something that I'm missing by doing it this way that couldn't be worthwhile, but I don't think that any of these clips, just by today, as way of an example, matter any less because I didn't sit around and listen to you, I don't know, have basic small talk with people in your chat for an hour before you got to the point, right?
Constantly feeding into that would bring up people who are no longer in my life. Like, just to like throw them under the bus or to make a point or whatever. Like, it's my past. It is what it is. And where I've gone wrong, I apologize. And then I've also sat here and been like, I'm not fucking sorry. Because if I'm not sorry, I'll tell you about whatever the situation is. There was a period of time, Jacob, where I was friendly with someone who I had no business trying to be friendly with.
It's also always so interesting when Rosie, like, it's my past. I did these bad things in my past. Because that's also a similar thing of, like, Chantal and Amberlynn, too. And certainly, again, like, I don't know that it's always helpful to beat a dead horse, but sometimes I do think it's applicable to, like, what we're talking about and things like that. And I also think it's applicable because she's also usually wanting people to respect things about her past, which I think is legitimate and valid. Like we should consider, you know, trauma and stuff that Rosie, Amberlynn, Chantal, etc. experience. But they always want to bring it up when it's an excuse for their bad behavior. Rosie wanted to bring it up when it was a way to try to make the docuseries about her. And I think, like, just as you want to use it in that way, then it's reasonable for us to be like, well, what about that time that you were, like, defending Jeff Bluebear, and you basically asked his alleged victim, to provide evidence, or it didn't happen, you know? So I think it's way more, like, complex than how she's presenting it here. And she wants to move past the bad things that she's done in her past. She wants to just, like, gloss over it, but then wants everybody to take into account the bad things that have happened to her.
That takes strength to admit, you know what, that foils the reaction channel's plot, which is why they don't platform when I talk about those things. They don't show when I'm showing myself to be accountable. They don't talk about it because it disrupts their narrative of who I am that isn't real, is entirely parasocially built on the foundation of the ghost of Amber's past.
That was a whole lot of words, Diva. Where do I start? Well, first of all, I don't know if she wants to. First of all, she says she doesn't watch reaction channels, and she says she doesn't watch me. So first of all, I'd like to start with, what specifically have you taken accountability for that you don't think that we have platformed, or I have platformed specifically? Just by way of fact checking, I can tell you for sure that I reacted to and discussed her attempt at an apology to me and Pulpy Syntax that she did, like, I don't know how many months ago that was, but that is something that I shared on my channel, and I'm just bringing that up because I do remember a live stream where she was like, I even apologized for that, but you probably don't know that because Zach probably didn't cover it on their channel. so I'm just using that by way of example. I also shared her own, watched in real time with my Twitch community. We watched her attempt to apologize about the Stefan stuff, and I do think she's attempted to apologize for it, and to some extent I do think she maybe feels bad, whether that's because, you know, she got called out for it, or because she's genuinely done some processing to like feel remorse over it. But at the time, that whole entire apology was qualified by her saying, oh, well, people don't care about my trauma. So yeah, I don't think that's a great apology. I don't think that's accountability. I don't think that's what accountability looks like. Certainly, what I will say is that the women that she live streamed with that pointed out to her that she did problematic things by being a part of Stefan's live stream, those women, at least at the time of the live stream, seemed to accept her apology. And I even said in my reaction to that, it's not my apology to accept, so if these women in particular that are having this conversation with her feel like what Rosie had to say about it suffice, then that's good enough for me. I will still be critical in the way that she talks about it and has talked about it. You know, like, all of those times where she made it about her trauma happened after she had those conversations with those women. So I don't know how those women feel now because I don't follow them in that kind of way. But to say that I don't platform the times when she's taking accountability, I would need more information. It's lacking information to know what she's talking about, because those are the only two times in recent history. Actually, you know what? this all started, now that I'm really thinking about it, this all started because the whole reason she was upset with me to begin with is that there was a video where I talked about, and you can go back in my playlist of all the times I've ever talked about Rosie. I have a playlist called Quirky Love Rosie Nonsense. And one of the first times I ever talked about her on my main channel was when I was having a general conversation about not wanting people to send me things that they felt like were exclusive tea. And I used her as an example amongst other things like Amber Lynn sending me stuff, like the Erica and Brittany of it all, where Brittany was DMing me saying that Amber Lynn was having an affair with Erica. All of these things. I just said, yeah, I don't really want people to send me stuff like that. And I used all of those as experiences. And she was mad because after I communicated those boundaries with her in my DMs, she also said that she was sorry, that she hadn't thought about it like that. And she was mad because I didn't include that in my video. But in a future video where I really outlined all of our DMs, I did include it. And I think I may have, I'm a little fuzzy on this, I don't remember if I did or not. But I think I may have also gone on to clarify before I made that video that like Rosie had apologized or shared that somewhere. It wasn't really for me about if she had apologized or not. It was just talking about it as an example. So that's probably the other thing that she thinks that I have not like given her credit for taking accountability. But yeah, outside of that, I would like to know what she thinks.
That is that's why when I was talking about girl being a mental illness, like it's derangement, it's delusion, it's scary that people take aspects of Amber's life and apply it to mine because they view me like a spinoff. It's fucking weird.
I don't listen. Do I think that there are similarities between Rosie and Amber Lynn, and do I point them out? Yes. And do I point them out because Rosie swears up and down that she's nothing like Amber Lynn? Yes. But in terms of like watching Rosie and making content about her, I'm here for the Rosie show, specifically unrelated to Amber Lynn. Listen, we got Amber Lynn at home. If I really want to make some content about Amber Lynn, I will, and I can, and I would. I just did, actually. We watched her What I Eat in a Days from TikTok. That was my last video.
And I'm never gonna stop saying that. It's fucking weird. You're weird. And if you were capable of self-reflection, like I am, you would see that. It's hard to say you made a mistake in front of a platform like YouTube. You're showing growth, and that's great. I give props for that. Thank you. And that's the other thing, too, is when I do fuck up and I do apologize, if the people who are hurt by my actions don't want to accept that apology, they have every fucking right. They have every right to tell me to fuck off and, like, leave me alone and not engage again. And absolutely.
Oh, so it's okay okay, on that note, then, 2 of the 3 apologies that I just talked about, or 2 of the 3 moments of accountability that I just talked about, were apologies that were directed towards me. So if I don't feel like those apologies were enough, then that's okay for me to say. I think your apology about me saying that I neglected Poe was half-assed at best. I will accept it and move on, but I can say that. And like I said, if I really felt like the point of my video originally was to share that you apologized or that I felt some type of way about it, then I would have. But that wasn't why I was sharing that to begin with.
Absolutely. That is a natural consequence to my actions, right? To anyone's actions. But what's not a natural consequence is the dogpiling and the invasion of privacy and the going in real life shit. That's not a natural consequence. It is harassment and bullying, period.
Well, I also just want to be clear, because she's correlating this with Girl World again, and I also just want to be clear, she initially said this had nothing to do with Girl World, and she blamed it specifically, I believe, on Cam and people associated with Cam. So it's wild to me that has now evolved to, no, this is Girl World's fault.
Especially just take accountability, move on, and the past, and a sense of passion. Yeah, and it's hard, though, Colson, because these reaction channels, they're, because I'm, again, aside from the recent stuff of the documentary, in my current life, there's not much going on because I'm just vibing, So the only thing they can do is rehash my past and dig into it and make claims with little to no evidence that is greatly distorted. Okay,
well, I know she's not talking about me then, because I've never been a retro react kind of girl. I mean, like, maybe a handful of, 3 or 4 times. but certainly not a retro react when it comes to Rosie. Not that I don't think that some of that is important, it's just like not my style of it. I think it's important to know about her lore and her past, and I certainly have learned a lot even in the time that I've been watching her. But that's not usually what my content surrounds, so obviously she's not talking about me.
It doesn't have a lot of context because they're pulling clips from IG stories and they're pulling things that are no longer up in the internet, some of which is, like creating my YouTube channel, but my YouTube channel, a lot of which I only removed because of demonetization case.
Well, I guess I do sometimes pull the, I'm gonna reverse my type 2 diabetes. I have pulled that clip maybe a little bit out of context before.
I'm just curious what questions they asked you when you had your interview. It was such a long time ago. I talked for hours. I talked about my whole life story. I talked about my trauma. I talked about fetishism in depth. Like, it sucks that none of it. Like, even if they didn't share anything about me personally, the stuff where I was talking about fetishism and that one moment that they clipped for the trailer and didn't expand on, that is my personal, when it comes to, if I'm talking about just me, that's my personal biggest frustration.
What's so irritating about her being upset about that, though, is that Rosie's told her story. Rosie has told her story so many times, actually. She's gone on podcasts and talked about her story. She tried to offer to have me interview her. That was one of her DMs to me once upon a time. She similarly was in the DMs of people like Michelle McDaniel and Obese to Beast, and she shared her story with them. And she has also sent her story to magazines and tabloids from all over the country and things like that. Her story has been shared. It would be another thing if this was the first time she'd ever gone public with the things that happened and she felt some type of way about it not being included. But Rosie's voice has been heard. She hasn't been silenced. And in fact, again, I've said this before, but there's been actually many reaction channels and or content creators that have come out and spoken about how Rosie's reached out to them. I just want to tell you that there's at least one or two more names that have privately told me, and I don't say that to be oh, I got this information, but I say it to say that Rosie was in these streets. It wasn't just me. And I feel at least when I started making this content, I kind of felt like it was just me, but I have since learned that she was trying to get this story airtime wherever she could find it. So for her to sit here and act like her story's just never been heard, it's yeah, I get that you spent a lot of time talking about it. It's probably tough to share all of that all over again. And also, the documentary wasn't about you, and I don't understand what you don't get about that. All right, Liv, these screenshots from the chat say, I really have noticed any channels showing many apologies or any at all. Oops, haven't noticed any videos showing your apologies, I mean.
I really have noticed I really have noticed any channels you have not noticed. Really, I knew it.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Listen, Rosie's out here watching all of the content about her. Let's not act silly.
I fucking knew it. I just didn't make any sense. Because if their audience had full context, because so many of them hate me based on preconceived notion and bias, so much so that they will not come to view the whole context, right? Which is their right. But they'll watch the hate videos about me and believe this narrative. It's not fucking real. I would bet $1 million DM's gonna skip over this live. You know what I mean? Except maybe now that I said that. You know what I mean? It's just
skip over this live, girl. And unless there's something that Jane didn't include where you apologized for something, you ain't apologized for anything in this. You've said that you feel really bad about the Stefan stuff. And that you've done your best to try not to take center stage, while still sitting here talking about how you don't understand why you weren't included more in the doc, while sitting here and saying you took a break from that, but yet you were still going on about your own personal trauma hours leading up to the documentary on Instagram. And also, none of those Instagram clips were taken out of context because that was the entirety of your Instagram stories. I shared bar for bar every single thing you said in your Instagram stories in that video. So what do you mean? I would bet ZM isn't gonna cover this. Also, girl, you don't have to bring me up. Aren't you the one that has any way to refer to me filtered in your chat? And for good reason. Please keep it filtered. I'm not criticizing you for that. But Now you're gonna bring me up and have it be have it be part of the conversation, even though you get mad when people bring me up? Doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I was probably gonna react to this live regardless, unless you really just spent all 3 hours of it swimming and doing the laps that people paid you to do. But so far, at least in what I've seen, I haven't seen a lot of swimming. Jane probably did cut that part out.
All of them have this kind of bias. And some are disgusting, trash, hate-filled, just nastiness. And some of them are like a little nicer, funny, goofier, packaged in a better packaging, but they're still a pile of shit. You know? And it's just like, you're not interesting enough for you to get the same numbers talking about yourself instead of morbidly obese, mentally ill, fat women on the internet.
I'm not interesting enough to talk about myself. Well, first of all, I never signed up necessarily to have a YouTube channel where I talked about myself. I guess maybe if you go all the way back, if you sort my channel by oldest, at the very beginning of me like trying to decide what I wanted to do on YouTube, I talked about my personal life a little bit more, and I do talk about my personal life on Twitch. Anyways, all that to say, it was interesting enough, my life was interesting enough for you to be talking about me anonymously on Reddit. Was it not? Was it not? I guess that's all I want to say is like, oh, you don't think my life was interesting enough, but it was interesting enough to go and talk about my former relationship on Reddit? It was okay to like share lies about me. See, this is where I am going to bring up old shit, okay? It was okay for you to go and talk about me neglecting Poe? You said so much shit. So much shit about me, but apparently my life isn't interesting, so the only option is to sit and talk about you. Also, I just want to be clear, that's total Chantal and Amberlynn Reed logic, just for the record. The reality is that, I don't know, my life is interesting, and this is just what I clock in to do every day for work. And I do enjoy doing it, and I enjoy watching your content. But that doesn't mean that I'm like not interesting in other ways, and I think it's like a logical fallacy to be like, these people must have no life if all they can do is talk about morbidly obese, what did she say? Morbidly obese, mentally ill women on the internet. Because I just, that's not fair logic. Like, that's not real. I do lots of things outside of this. Unlike you, the internet is not my entire life. So I have boundaries surrounding that. So like, I clock in to the Rosie Lynn Reed factory, I do my business, and then I clock out and I go do other things. I don't know though. When you live your life chronically online, I think maybe that's probably hard to understand.
And I think that alone means I'm winning farther because I can make content about myself.
Okay, good. I'm so happy for you. Keep making content about yourself. Keep on keeping on, Rosie. You're winning. You're the winner.
You have to talk about people. Not only that, you have to punch down.
Punch down?
That's the real pathetic shit, you know? Yeah, she sucks. They're so high-minded. Yup. It's like taking these fans.
I continue to be so irritated with the concept of punching down. At least when it comes to Rosie specifically. And maybe that's because the context of punching down that people have always said to me is like the context of like follower counts and stuff like that. Maybe in her sense she feels like I'm punching down because, I don't know, like I'm not a morbidly obese, mentally ill woman, and so maybe she thinks about it that way. But I just want to say, Rosie has a long history of being on the internet, and I learn more and more about that every day, from the people that are doing the content that's like, oh, here's the list of her history on the internet. And she also has a following on places that are not just YouTube. YouTube just happens to be where I got into her. I found her actually through Instagram, where she did have significantly more followers than me. And she is her own human. She's been in a mainstream docuseries. She is a public figure. She is open to criticism. She is open to people having opinions about her. Oh my God, this is such a long video. We're 55 minutes in and I've just had so much to say and we're not even halfway through this video. I have got to let her talk.
And put it out instead of regurgitating something that's been said 1,000 times. Clock that. Yeah. Yeah, so they're so obsessed with me. One of them invited me into her house after giving me dresses. Another one was besties with the guy that's been stalking me for years. And she was sitting right there with him when he was trying to get me to myself on his community tab posts about 2 years ago now. Another one obsesses over me, recreates my TikToks.
Is that play about me? Because I recreated one TikTok. if that's about me, I recreated one TikTok. One because I agree. I agreed with the sentiment, which is that fat is a statement of neutrality. It's a neutral fact about our bodies.
And shit. And then the joke doesn't even land because no one knows what's going on. And but it's too lazy to recreate a long one. Just the short ones.
Also, she doesn't watch me, but seemingly knows so much. Well, maybe she really doesn't, because I really did only remake the one TikTok. I really did. Actually, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if she is watching my Twitch stream still, because actually that's resonating with something I did say in a Twitch stream. Now that she's saying that, I talked about just like feeling silly and recreating that TikTok, and then I mentioned that I had thought about recreating the TikTok where she's like singing along to Paramore. I think it was Paramore. But she literally sang to the whole song, so I was like, I don't know, that just felt too long. I didn't need to do all of that. Y'all, I think I only talked about that on Twitch. Y'all think she's back in my Twitch streams again? That's interesting. Or unless is somebody else recreating her TikToks, let me not be so Zach-centered thinking she's talking about me. Did Australian Zach recreate her TikToks and I just didn't know? Maybe this play isn't about me.
And then, honestly, the other one's just kind of sitting. He's kind of an asshole, but he's just laughing and watch it. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about that. Oh, I said probably at least I can count 10 off the top of my head. I've currently 8 members on my channel. So, fan behavior. So, there's a channel, who... I would also... What kind of shit you got to say about my girl Charlie Gold? I think Rosie's too scared to say something about Charlie Gold, because she knows not to fuck with Charlie. I honestly... That's one of the things I admire about Charlie. Charlie's got these goals, these girls, scared to say shit to her. But I would love to see them try. I'd love to see Rosie try. Like, I don't know, when she was a mod for me, she was getting like 4 to 10 views per video talking about her and them. And she pretended to find me organically on TikTok. She befriended me. She became one of my mods. She made my old intro and outro. I mean, we became friends to the point that we exchanged numbers. We FaceTimed. This was back when I used to watch this garbage ass content, so I would talk to her about that content. She like got down to like 4x. I mean, she's still fat. Like, she's still in the same size range as far as I know. Actually, maybe she's lost her weight. Actually, I don't know. I really don't know. I actually have no idea what she's up to. I don't go to her channel. I have no fucking clue what she's doing.
I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't know everything. Who is this about? Is this Aren't You Exhausted? Is that who she's talking about here? I'm sure you don't know anything about her. I'm sure you're not keeping tabs. Also, why do you care if she's fat? Fat is a statement of neutrality, just like that TikTok that I recreated said.
Except I know she's talking about me incessantly. That's all I know. I ended up finding out that she was in the chat of the guy that stalks me. And she was actively making fun of me while they were talking about my legal name in the chat at the time. At the time, that was less known information than it is now. But even still, I don't advertise it. But like, it's out there. Like, things have been said in my life and stuff, like whatever. But back then, it was a much bigger deal. And I confronted her because I had just been invited to her house. She lives 30 minutes from me. She invited me into her home. She sat me down, talked with me for hours, gave me the dress that I met her husband, to then find out the entire time she was buddy trolling me. And she's regarded as like a reactor that people actually watch and like thinks is a good source to talk about me because she buddy trolled me. Because she actively and maliciously went out of her way to build my trust.
My My understanding, and listen, this is not an endorsement of any channel. I have an idea of people who are making content specifically about Rosie. Certainly not an expert, but my understanding was that she was genuinely your friend. Like, she did genuinely like you, and then she started to learn more about you and get different vibes from you, and it led to her no longer being your friend. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have the correct understanding about it. I don't think... My understanding was never that she, like, went out of her way to, like, manipulate Rosie into being her friend just so that she could have, like, content and stuff about her to make later.
To just turn around and make her entire channel about me, and now she's getting thousands of views. Now, because she was someone that was there, like, boots on the ground journalism, that was her fucking motive. The entire time, it was to build her fucking channel. It's disgusting. It's weird. You're fucking creepy. I know you're watching this. You watch everything I do. You're fucking creepy. You are just as bad as those other two. And you know who I'm talking about when I say that.
As those other two? No, I don't know who she's talking about. Rosie just usually... Was she not the one at the beginning of this live stream saying, I'll just say it straight to your face. I'll just say it, but, like, isn't naming any of these people, is just sitting here talking vaguely? She's exhausting. I'd say it to your face. No, you wouldn't. You can't even say their names.
You're just as bad as them. You kind of skated by when all the drama went down in December, but you were just as creepy as them. I don't promote these people. I don't say their names. They don't get.
Oh, is she talking about Cam and Nikki? She's talking about Cam and Nikki, and I actually do know that Aren't You Exhausted? If she's talking... See, this is why she got to start using names. If only because it's like, it leaves a lot of people open for you to just talk about whoever. And if you don't want to give them advertisement, then you should just not talk about them at all, is what you really should do, because then people are just going to try to start piecing together the info, and then you're going to get upset when people misunderstood what you're trying to say. But if she's talking about the stuff that happened in December, that was Cam emailing her about the person who assaulted her. I remember being in a live stream of Aren't You Exhausted, and she was talking about it. She was saying, like, that they were all really disappointed that happened. They all being, like, her community, I think. Again, I was only there briefly, so maybe something more happened. But I just don't remember these things happening the way that Rosie remembers them.
Their name on my channel. She has last time she had septum piercing, and she's as big as I am, a couple sizes down. Yeah, I'm not getting in the cloud. I refuse. Nope. And I saw a thumbnail of Z where the tagline says, Rosie is upset about not being in the doc. But I watched the live he's reacting to in full, and you didn't say that at all. Well, let's just fact check that then, shall we, Jacob Gus Gus? Which, by the way, Jacob Gus Gus, I remember that name. He was one of the people being transphobic in her last live stream or whatever that we talked about here, and that she just let continue to say awful things. There were a few of them that were doing it that day, but Jacob Gus Gus was one of them. All right, here are all of the thumbnails and titles of the videos I've made about Rosie since the docuseries came out, right? Because this is suggesting that I was making a video about Rosie being upset about not being in the doc. Well, the most recent one, which was from a couple days ago, says, the thumbnail says, it's confusing that they didn't share my story. And then the title is, Rosie is confused that she wasn't in the docuseries more. Is that not true? Did she not say that she was confused why they didn't include her more? At the very least, it's not me saying Rosie is upset about not being in the doc. I don't think I say anything about her being upset. I said she was confused. And then the other video I've made since the docuseries came out, where we found out about how little she was or was not in the docuseries, was called How Rosie Made Escaping Paradise About Her, Even Though It Wasn't. And then the thumbnail says, It's Not About You, Rosie.
And I would guess Rosie even knows that because again, I'm sure she's out here keeping up with what I'm posting on my channel.
Where he's a tab on Rosie upset about not being in the doc, and I watched the live he's reacting to in full, and he didn't say that.
Well, and I didn't say what Jacob Gus said I said. So
women has time to do things like that, but their paychecks depend on it. They clock into their 9-5, and the Rosie factory, if you want to go there, I think that's an old reference to Amber, so I finally take that back a little bit. But my point is.
It is. In fact, I think I coined that. I think because I coined that back when Amberlynn was saying she was my boss, and I was like, yeah, I'm clocking into the Amberlynn Reid reaction factory.
Like, that's really what they're doing. They have a financial incentive, which is crazy to me that YouTube hasn't intervened. Yeah, buddy trolling is so unhinged, and the fact it's happened to me as many times as it has.
It's crazy to you that YouTube hasn't intervened. Diva, do you understand outside of you how many how many channels exist where they just like exclusively talk about like online content creator drama and commentary and things like that? Like, again, main character syndrome, that you think that you exist in this bubble where nobody else on the internet experiences this. But the reason that YouTube hasn't intervened is because it's okay for people to share criticism about you.
Sucks. A lot. I've gotten a lot wiser nowadays. There's a lot of records I don't even know about. I mean, I see their names pop up with all the docuseries stuff that happened. I started getting more videos about me recommended to me randomly, and I was like, absolutely not. Because here's the thing, guys. I catch stuff in my comments, in my DMs, and occasional posts on certain Reddits because I don't go to mine. Whether you believe me or not,
I catch things on certain Reddits, but I don't go to my Reddit. But I catch things on certain Reddits. Girl, you are constantly talking about being a Reddit diva.
My Reddit, because I'm not repeating what I did during the fat people hate subreddit stuff that happened to me in 2015. The way that destroyed my mental health and like fucking took over my life. Like, I can never do that again. So, and then like when I first started YouTube and I was first watching videos about me, what that did to me, like, that's over a year ago now. I did kind of falter a little bit on that from time to time, but I really got to a point where, like, I did watch, like, CC Suarez's videos. She mentioned me. I did watch a couple, like, Sam at Every Size, like, those types of...
She been watching all the videos about the docuseries about her, and just, well, let me not say anything.
Creators, but, like, I'm not watching, like, reaction channel content about it. I'm not doing it. I'm still just dealing with what existing on the internet with my digital footprint and this type of audience attacking me all the time. I'm still just trying to navigate that. That week where like, I made those videos about LCU in the world would have looked tame compared to like what I would be doing and how I would be acting if I drove myself crazy by seeing those kinds of things. CC Suarez, I don't know her comments. She did, okay, so this is publicly available information, so I'll start there. She made the first video where she used me in the thumbnail, and I watched and she didn't talk about me. And I was like, that's an interesting choice. But I liked the video a lot. It was about like the documentary before it's released, right? And she's essentially like kind of a true crime channel. I like CC Suarez, and then, I love Sam at Every Size. Her content's great. I really respect her. I respect that she's a rational person. Like, regardless of what her opinion of me is, I don't even know, but I like talking to her. Like, I don't talk to her very much ever, actually, but, like, I like watching her videos. I like the times we have spoken. She's been very...
Oh, you're publicly talking about how you've reached out to Sam at Every Size, Rosie? That's interesting. That's fascinating to me, Rosie.
Respectful. Yeah, I just don't know how you become a person who buddy trolls. I feel actually evil. I would too. I think never. And I find a lot of comfort in that I am not evil like that. I am not malicious. I am not a malicious person. And that gives me a lot of peace with this shit that I go through. Oh yeah, and I do criticism too. Yeah, but the thing is, for me, it is hard to discern because of my buddy trolling experience. What is actual criticism versus...
That's what, and honestly, truly, I don't disagree. It can be very difficult, even without the concept of buddy trolls, right? Like, it can be very difficult to discern when people are giving you genuine criticism versus just, like, saying shit to be mean. So that resonates with me, but it's also why Rosie in particular needs to really, truly evaluate her level of parasocial activity with other people. She's sitting out here talking about how awful and terrible buddy trolls are, as if she didn't take all of that into account and still decide that she's dating somebody that only met her on the internet. because they found her in a podcast where she talked about being groomed into feudalism. And she has no questions, no doubts, anything about the sincerity of Remy and his feelings towards her. And maybe he is really this great person who has done nothing wrong. And I hope that for her. I hope that she's not burned by it, because that would be really crazy. But it is to say, like, girl, you're sitting over here complaining about buddy trolls and people being parasocial, as if, one, you're not super parasocial, and as two, as if you're not, like, seeking out suitors based on people who've watched your content.
Like, someone fucking with me in a lot of situations, and, like, I am of the camp that you should only take criticism from people that you would want to be like, and I would not want to be like an anonymous hater on the internet. Unless, like, if you watch my lives in full, I can probably say at least 2 or 3 times in recent history, I have been on my lives and someone has come to me, and it's criticism, and I look at it and I go, yeah, you know what, you're right, that's a valid critique, or that's a valid point, I don't know if I agree with you, but it's I can take criticism, but I'm not going to take criticism from some anonymous loser bitch on the internet who does not have my best interest in mind, who enjoys my downfall, and wants me to fail.
For sure.
I'm not going to take criticism from people who dehumanize me on a daily basis for a paycheck. I'm not going to take criticism from people.
Listen, you don't have to take any of my criticism. You don't have to do none of it. You don't have to watch. But you're clearly tuned into what I'm doing, because you're sitting here talking about TikToks I've recreated. One. And you're able to quote me saying, essentially paraphrase me saying, that I didn't recreate the other one because it was too long.
Who fat shame me and make fun of me constantly for some form of entertainment. I don't want your criticism. I don't. If you're my viewer, that's a different story. If you watch me directly, if you're one of my subscribers, different story. And sometimes I get that criticism and I go, damn, because you know what? That's the thing, is like, when I was on Zio's live, like 2 days after I spoke to Savon and I was talking to Paola, she told me exactly what she thought. She gave me a lot of constructive criticism that I needed to hear. She held me accountable, and I was like, well, shit. Like, fuck, like, it was during that live I realized I fucked up. It was also, and that's the thing, is like, when I was apologizing and I was talking about these things, I tried really hard to not focus on, like, certain aspects that I knew were huge contributing factors, but I did not want to use them as an excuse. And I didn't want to shield behind the fact that I was, like, sleep deprived and I was struggling with all this shit, and, like,
but she absolutely did. She absolutely did use that all to justify why she did all of it, just for the record.
Out of sorts, because that doesn't change what my actions did. It doesn't change how I impacted other people. It doesn't change, like, fucked up, right? Like, I know how it happened, and I know the mistakes that I made, and I know how I made that mistake, and it is something that I work on constantly, and I wish I was better about at this point in my life, when it comes to the sleep deprivation issues that I deal with, because, man, being sleep deprived just can make you act out of character, not thinking clearly and shit. And I think I mentioned it briefly at some point, right? It was relevant to the situation, but, like, I don't want to, like, just hide behind that. And I really genuinely, in the moment, believed that what I was doing was not different than the girls going LCU panel. I obviously know differently now, but at that point, I genuinely...
And this is why... This is why I say that your morals, your values, etc. are performative. Because if you really cared about the voices of people who were victims of this man, you wouldn't have gone on a platform with him. That is actually very different than the people going on to LCU. You might not like the people of the LCU, and I surely don't either. I can't stand anybody who actively chooses to be a part of that mess. But that is extremely different. It's extremely different to go share your story with this group of people, the LCU, that were not involved in the actual perpetration of the violence. It's way different for them to choose to do that than for you to get on a live stream with this man to try to clear your name when he's the one that actually hurt these people. It's wildly performative. And it's wildly performative that you want everybody to care about your trauma, but you clearly don't care about anybody else's. And you don't think about that. You don't have that in your mind to begin with. You don't prioritize creating space for people. That doesn't mean that accidents don't happen, but you've gone to show that now multiple times that you don't prioritize other people's trauma. It's just about you.
people might get annoyed at me for doing it, like they were with like other people. But it just wasn't the same. The impact was not the same. It was just a fucking clusterfuck from start to fucking finish. I also now, with hindsight, know that the better option would have just been to keep waiting. And that was, I think, the problem is like I was waiting, and I was the one telling other people to wait. And I think that's part of the reason why some people were so mad, because I was pretty vocal about that. And then in the split second, like impulsive moment, I switched on myself. What relief were you trying to get from speaking with him? So in the live, someone asked me what my motivations were, and it took me a second to be like, shit, I didn't think about that, which means I did not think it through. And the intensity of the hate that I was experiencing just from Girl World alone ramped up.
Just from Girl World is just her sudden blaming of Girl World is really one to be studied, because she previously was very adamant that this was not just Girl World.
And then on top of that, Stefan was like making posts about me and tagging me in them. He spent like 30 minutes.
Block him.
Just dogpiling me.
Block him.
He was saying heinous shit about me.
Block him.
And all of this shit, right? Because he's a normal person.
Block him. Ignore him. Doesn't mean you have to get on panel with a predator, an alleged predator.
We had an exchange when I was in the chat that made me think, maybe, because it wasn't until that moment that I believed a rational conversation was even possible. And at the end, and I'm talking about specifically in the moment, not current me, just in the moment, all right? I want to make that so crystal fucking clear. I thought that maybe I'd get a little reprieve. I'd be able to ask some questions that I had. I wanted to hear what his current narrative was on certain things, because I knew it was a lie. I knew he was lying out of his ass about a lot of things. But what I did not...
And yet you didn't... You know, it might have been a whole different experience if you had any level of a backbone, if you had 2 solid, sturdy feet to stand on, if you stood 10 fucking toes down and, like, actually confronted him about any of those lies, but that's not what you did, Rosie. Please be so fucking serious. Like, that's the other thing. Like, I probably still would have had questions about, like, why are you even giving this man the time of day? But it's also about you didn't push him. You didn't question him. Just like you defended Amber Lynn and her transphobic comment. You didn't push Shani out of your chat. You didn't block her. You supported her being there. You are a coward. You're a big old fucking weenie. A big old fucking weenie when it comes to actually having to confront somebody face to face. That let's be really honest, that's why your ass will never have anything to say about Charlie Gold, because you know she will not play games with you, diva.
With how me being on that panel without someone else who's more heavily involved in like the direct back and forth going on, who could call out his lives in real time, like how important that would have been. And
you did none of it.
Because I think I ultimately ended up accidentally like providing a space for him to perpetrate further lies and hurt people. And then I just wasn't thinking clearly, like period. But I wasn't thinking things through, and I was not thinking in a bigger picture in that moment. Because it was like I think
it's almost like this is a pattern of behavior, Rosie. It's almost like this is how it always happens.
Started around 2 o'clock in the morning because I got off the live at like 5, so it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was on that live for a long time. That's the other thing. I was on that live for way too fucking long. Like had I just gone up there and had like the first 5-10 minutes of conversation we had, where it was more about my general grievance, and then gotten off, I think it might have been less hurtful to people. I hold genuine remorse. I mean, and not like I got caught, like, everything was public. It was never about being caught up in it. It was never about, like, I genuinely did not see the bigger scope. That's just that I want to manipulate people. With autism, it's hard, and I have to realize when someone's manipulating you, especially someone like Stefan. Yeah. But you know what? I'm so glad you said that. Because I was in the moment, and we were talking for a bit, and then there was a point. It was, like, him, and, like, I think there was 2 other people in the box. They were talking to me, and I realized they were like, triangulating me. They were trying to talk me into a box to get me to say something that like sides with him. And as soon as I did catch on to that. It took me a minute to realize that's what was happening, but I did catch on to that. And then it was like not long after that I kind of just was like, yeah, no, sorry, like I'm with the girls, like what? Like, and then it was not long after that I bounced from the conversation. Hearing all of this is absolutely true to my perspective. The clips always make you come off like you don't know the difference between right and wrong. They cherry pick a narrative.
They cherry pick a narrative is crazy, especially when it comes to the Stefan situation, because I have been very transparent about everything she's had to say. We watched I am not somebody who frequently live streams or snipes her live streams. I don't usually watch in real time, but I was doing a special charity stream that day, so I was already on live, and I said, let's tune in for an hour of this live stream to watch what she's doing and saying. And so we watched it in real time the whole time. I didn't cut things out. I didn't change anything. I fully put her attempt at apologizing to her audience fully there. Like, there was nothing cherry-picked about that. So, again, I can only speak to myself. I know, actually, when it comes to Rosie, there's a lot of the people who cover her that actually do live stream her entire live streams in full. So, I'm only speaking for myself, but that's why it's so weirdly to me about the Stefan situation specifically, because that's one of the few times I fully live streamed her whole apology.
Well, keep saying that until I'm hurt. They cherry pick a narrative. If they showed the full context of me, I would have a lot less shit to say, to be honest with you. Because ultimately, I've always been kind of a divisive person. I've always been like, you either love or fucking hate me. Like, there's really, and it's just, I think that's a big thing just with neurodivergency in general too. Like, but also just, I'm opinionated. I can be abrasive. Like, there's a lot of aspects of me. There's a couple that I know that do that. I don't watch any of them, actually.
Do you see how she just got herself? Wait, listen to that.
There's a couple that I know that do that. I don't watch any of them, actually.
Do you see how she almost fucked up and admitted to, I watch a couple, I don't watch any of them, actually. Be so fucking serious.
But I have watched those channels that do that actively watch me say something.
And then she walks it right back right there. She said, I don't watch any of them, actually, and then she said, I do actually, I've watched the ones that cherry pick me. Ooh, not me throwing my fidget, knocking over I don't even want to touch it. I feel like it's on the verge of collapse behind me. I just need it not to move back there.
Either completely twist my words, or I've seen them say that I said the opposite of what I just said, and then the chat agrees with them. And I'm watching it with my own eyes, like back when I watched that shit. And I was like...
Oh yeah, and back when she used to watch that shit.
Because I was just trying to learn and understand, and that behavior was part of the reason that made me go like, maybe I should question everything. Maybe Amber isn't the worst person on the planet. Spoiler alert. I was right about that. But yeah, TLDR. I can take criticism. There's just a lot of people that are really mad that I won't take their criticism because I think their criticism is worthless. Because people that dedicate their entire life to obsessing over me.
And it's also so crazy. I can only speak to myself, but this concept that I've dedicated my entire life, like, I would hate, even if I was doing a different job, like even if I was still working in higher education, I would hate to be whittled down to like dedicating my entire life to higher education. Like, I have so many other things in my life. Like, this is certainly a part of my life. I'm so thrilled that like YouTube has been such a fruitful part of my life. I'm so grateful for everything that's afforded me, and also would never whittle down my entire existence to this is my entire life. Like, there's so many things I do outside of YouTube, outside of Twitch, that are meaningful to me, that matter to me. So this narrative, I guess, like, maybe there are people who have dedicated their entire life. I think Rosie gives herself more credit than she deserves, because my whole entire life is not dedicated to her, just for the record.
Because they hate me? I don't want your opinion. I don't want your criticism. I will absolutely, yeah, I'll take criticism that matters with people, like, because I stream for hours. So they cherry pick the moments that they can paint me to look the worst in. I kind of really wish I wasn't in the situation I'm in.
Listen, Jane, this is where I need the context. Did she just really out of nowhere start crying? Surely there was some more context here. God damn you, Jane, for cherry picking her content.
I kind of wish I could just find a full-time job at this point.
Well, do.
I know that I can keep it and just get off the fucking internet for...
Girl, do it. Girl, what's keeping you?
A couple years. And just figure shit out.
Do it.
For me. But I can't. And with the current job market, I feel like I'm drowning because I just even need to be able to like apply for jobs, find a job, and like that because I have a really good resume and I interview well. But all this AI shit and the current job market, it's just a different playing field that I feel born in.
I'm sorry, was she, prior to going to Texas to meet Remy, and even while she was in Texas, didn't she say she had a job interview when she was in Texas? And prior to going to it, she said she potentially had a job lined up? How much have you even tried to get a job? I'm sorry, Diva. Poor you, Diva.
Spent months.
Listen, the job market is incredibly hard right now. Like, I've seen you all comment about it in my comments section. I've heard about it from people in my own personal life. Like, I fully 100% believe that. And also, like, am not here for this woe is me from Rosie talking about it's just so bad she can't get anything because of AI and all this stuff. Like, I'm sure that's a part of it. But you also were just talking about getting interviews and things like that when you were still demonetized. And the second that you got monetization back is when you stopped talking about job searching.
I was still like, while I was demonetized, like when I was like offline in between lives, like when I was talking about job hunting, I was actually job hunting. Once I got remonetized, I did kind of eventually like slow that down to a halt.
Oh, okay. So exactly what I just said. Okay, perfect.
Well, at some point I did stop job hunting, but
Okay, all right, okay. So what's the issue then again? That you can't get a job because of the job market right now, or because you're just not searching for one?
I spent months trying because I was willing to at least like get a job and like work on that for a while I needed to see what happened to YouTube and everything. Because the insurance would be nice, and honestly, if I was offered a work from home position, I would take it, even though I wouldn't be able to make it long term. I mean, I probably wouldn't keep it longer if I was able to get like ADA accommodated and shit.
Well, okay. First of all, what do you mean you wouldn't be able to keep it long? Your work from home job. Second of all, you can get ADA accommodations. You're guaranteed that in the workplace. I can tell you about this because, the last job I had before I became a full-time YouTube employee, content creator. The last job I had was working in accommodations for students at a law school and implementing their accommodations. And I learned a lot about ADA law. That was the first time I'd ever worked with students in that capacity. Went to like full-on conference to learn about a workshop conference to learn about ADA and all of the things that are required by universities and also workplaces. And you absolutely can get ADA accommodations, but you do have to have documented disabilities. You do have to be able to show that you need those accommodations, usually in some way. A note from a doctor, something like that. You have to be able to demonstrate the need for ADA accommodations. That can look like a bunch of different things. I should clarify. It doesn't always necessarily come down to like having to have medical records disclosed to the places. Oftentimes, that is one of the ways that people demonstrate need for accommodations. But if you have a disability, Diva, legally they got to give you ADA accommodations. It just is. That's the rule.
But that requires being sent with a doctor, which I currently don't have one. Most of these jobs, they don't start your insurance until after you've been there 90 days. And if I can get through 90 days of work without, and most of those trainings do require like 100% attendance, and that is just, I can do my best. So I had the part-time, that's why I mentioned the part-time job. Basically like.
Wait, also, I think she's gonna probably be hard-pressed to find an accommodation, an approved accommodation that's like, you just don't have to show up for work. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying that that's like something that couldn't happen, but I am saying that like, if your accommodation requires that you miss a large chunk of the work that you need to be doing, I do think that like there might be grounds to be like, yeah, then like you're not fit for this position if you can't make it to the days that you have to be there. So I don't know. I'm just like comparing that to experiences I've had where like I can't even think of a similar experience, because there were some times where students might have to miss, like if they had like a flare up or something. So maybe that's what she's talking about. But like she couldn't complete her last at-home job because she just couldn't show up to work multiple days in a row. And I think there comes a time at some point where it's like, well, how can you feasibly make up, I don't know, a random number, a week's worth of time if you just didn't show up for a week? Like it's way more complicated than that. I think she would have a hard fight to be like, I just get to not show up whenever. There'd probably be some more strict guidelines around that. Like there would probably be some more boundaries that it sounds like inevitably she would probably mess up. Accommodations aren't just like you get whatever you want. They have to be reasonable. That's a part of ADA law. We could really get into all of that, but that's besides the point. Oh my God, an hour and a half I've been yapping. Jesus Christ. We are almost over. Let me just let her talk for 4 minutes and try not to say anything challenge.
They overhired so significantly. They had a minimum 10-hour requirement that no one could meet because there was so little work. It was so stupid. It was like the notifications. I would get a notification to do a task. I would get a notification. I would have my computer open in front of me. I would take, I'm not kidding, 5 seconds to hit new tab, hit bookmark that I have saved, open page, and then it would say like no new tasks. And so you would have to like manually keep refreshing. And most of the time, the only time I ever got any work was if I couldn't sleep and I was up at like 4 a.m. and I happened to think to refresh, and then a task would be there that I wasn't notified of. It was so stupid. Oh my God. Wasted my time. One of the things that I've been quietly working on in my life in the background for honestly a couple years now. Lucy, whenever that situation happened with that loser, when he went out of his way to expose like our text messages or our Instagram DMs or whatever, all that shit. Like,
me? Here in my mind, I thought she was getting ready to talk about something that Cam did, and she's talking about me? And the work that she's done on herself since I... Girl, please be so serious. You've done very little work, Diva.
When all that happened, it made me really take a step back and just evaluate like my relationship with parasocialness in general. And I kind of worked all the way back to realizing like in my teen years, I developed really unhealthy attachments to YouTubers as a child. And the first one of that ever for me was Shane Dawson. Obviously, but I was a hardcore Shane Dawson fan for a long time. That's like when I realized that's kind of where it started, and then I just had to kind of unpack all this like work I've done with myself, or I had to unpack to be able to put all this work to realize like I developed these things that felt normal in childhood. I need to rework those boundaries and that understanding. I watch more like if I'm watching something, I tend to just watch more shows now because I like to watch like certain people. Like I like certain people, but I don't let myself get like I'm not really ever talking about having a favorite YouTuber again or a favorite whatever because like everyone is human, everyone can disappoint you, everyone is flawed, everyone makes mistakes, and it's just a matter.
And the only thing I did to disappoint her, by the way, was just call her out for her bullshit. She was happy to watch me call out Amber Lynn for her bullshit, Chantal for her bullshit. But the reason that I'm so terrible and so awful is because I called her out for her bullshit, just for the record.
Knowing if the person you're watching is like in general like a decent person or not, and if they align with my view, not my views necessarily, but like my values, and if they are entertaining and they make content I like, Well,
I'm thrilled that you and I, that our values don't align, because as I pointed out many times today, your values are flawed. Your values only matter when they apply to you. You don't have a backbone to stand on. You wouldn't actually fight anybody, defend anybody that you claim that you care about. So I'm good if our values don't align, Rosie.
I don't know enough mid-2000s lore to know how much I do or don't agree with the statement, LaGanja.
Rosie is like the Tyra Banks to BM to Amber Lynn's Naomi. What?
But Rosie is like the Tyra Banks to Amber Lynn's Naomi is fucking crazy. I was talking to someone who was telling me about they recently watched a video of one of these. She's one of the cheer squad captains of the Quirky Creepy crew, and
I was talking to somebody who had watched one of these videos. Girl, so even let's just believe her that she doesn't watch us. She's talking to people who watch all of this content about her.
They were telling me that they watched a video of her, and she was just like, well, I said something, I don't remember what, but she was just like screaming at her, screaming, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. And I'm like, and I like wasn't lying. And I was like, if you're that upset about me, be a therapist. I'm so serious.
Get a therapist. Rosie, if you are that upset about all of these reaction channels and you can't deal with how the internet is giving you criticism and feedback and you're so upset about it, if it's impacting your life that much, get a therapist.
If you're that upset watching my content, leave and book an appointment. I don't recommend BetterHelp. It's not free. But seek guidance. True. I'm just human. I think I'm probably gonna hop off now.
That's so rich.
I will. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Queen of needing a therapist, telling other people to get a therapist. Which, fair enough. I support therapy for everybody. I went to therapy today. It was great. It was great. Anyways, wow, an hour and a half of me yapping, and I really don't think I'm gonna edit a whole lot of anything out. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did and you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing down below. Hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I post a new video. Make sure to leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I had so much fun today. I hope you did too, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!